question, please do so in the chat area of YouTube. I'll be monitoring that and I'll ask some of the questions at the end of the talk. Right, I'll now hand over to Rob Lowe from Lego Ventures. Over to you, Rob.
Thanks, Jamie. Hi, everybody on YouTube. I'm Rob. I work for Lego Ventures. I've been at Lego for about 6 years. Prior to that, I worked at Nintendo for quite a few years, and also at BBC as well, working on games and lots of cool stuff like that. I'm going to share a little bit about Lego Ventures, what we do, what we're looking at in the digital play space, in the gaming space. Hopefully it will be interesting. Let me share my screen now, and hopefully that will work if you can see it. Cool. If you can't, then someone tell me. Cool. So what we call digital play is essentially gaming plus all the different ways that you can be creative in the digital space. It's a key focus for us in Lego Ventures, and I'll kind of explain why now. As a company, we are actually separate from the Lego group. We are a different entity, but we are part of the broader kind of Lego family of companies owned by the same family that started Lego, 85 years ago, 90 years ago now. As Lego Ventures, we are looking at the kind of intersection of learning, play, and creativity. We understand that the Lego brick is probably one of the best forms of those three things that can encapsulate learning through play and systematic creativity at its heart, but it's also not the only material and the only form that could take. So we're on a mission to diversify the Lego idea into different places. And specifically today, I'm going to talk about the digital space. So we do not invest in ideas around the core brick itself. That is, all that innovation is run out of the Lego group. We sometimes support them with investments on their behalf because of our knowledge around investment. But as an entity in ourselves, we are investigating ideas around creativity and play, but not ones that are focused on the brick. They would go into the Lego group itself. As a kind of corporate venture arm, which we are, we have three main functions. We have the venture/investment team. We have incubation, which is very early stage ideas and entrepreneurs who we will look to support with their idea if it gets traction and potentially grow into a company. And we have value creation and marketing, which is where I head up, which is the intersection between our investments and the Lego group, how Lego will support them, how they can interact with all the amazing stuff we have inside Lego, how we kind of manage our portfolio of investments on that front, and also how Lego Ventures interacts with the overall world that it works within around digital play and other areas. We've grown our portfolio in the last 12 months. We have around 11 or 12 investments now. You can see most of them on this screen. There's a couple that you might recognize from the gaming space. Super awesome, build a lot of kids-safe architecture and technology. This is used by a lot of games focusing on younger audiences right now. Clang are a studio in Berlin who are building a massively multiplayer online game called Seed, who we've invested in, and they're launching their beta version of that called Pioneers later this year. You'll see some others on here that are kind of in gaming and education, and that really is our focus, is gaming and education are the two pillars of where we invest the most. Just going to touch quickly on how COVID has affected us. So we've actually paused investment for a period as Lego Ventures during the coronavirus main period. The reason for that is obviously we have a parent company, Lego. They obviously want to kind of de-risk and remain liquid through this period as much as possible. Actually during this period, a lot of people are building Lego at home. So from that sense, it's proven to be an actual kind of interesting period for seeing new people come into the Lego system. But we also have a majority ownership of Merlin, and all those parks are closed. So, we have to balance off the risk there. Having said that, we're hoping to ramp up investment again a little bit later on down the line, hopefully towards the end of the summer. What we're seeing as well is that education, which is our other area of focus alongside gaming, has been significantly disrupted, largely in a positive way, by the COVID period. You can see at the bottom here is a little very simple table that we've built that shows, the traditional form of education, instruction in the classroom, homework at home, the kind of flipped classroom approach with at-home learning and digital platforms starting to be at play, with kind of new players coming into that space. And then COVID taking that even further. So there is zero classroom activity and everything happening at home. And then what will happen as we start to come out of the period that we're seeing now? Will it go all the way back to traditional? Will we see some of the platforms in the kind of digital education space continuing their growth? We find it very interesting. We also see a similar impact in digital play and gaming, which I'm sure is consistent with a lot of what you've seen, which is having more kids at home and more gamers at home is having a positive impact on the amount of play and the opportunity there. Again, what we're going to stay very close to is over the next 2 or 3 months, how is that affected as the hopefully the COVID period starts to end. So our investment focus, we look at equity investments only. We don't do project funding. We don't publish. We are looking to help companies grow and grow with them, basically. We have a sweet spot of Series A and B rounds. Having said that, we are happy to take conversations with those both earlier and later if they are really focused in the same areas that Lego Ventures is. And we have a global focus. We have offices in London, Shanghai, San Francisco, all the massive global hubs, and Billund, which Lego thinks is a global hub as well. It's actually a little town in the Danish countryside where the first brick was made. But they're Lego's global hubs anyway. So these are our 2 areas of focus. Obviously, I'm going to be focusing on the left a little bit more as I go through this. I always like to talk about the elephant in the room when it comes to digital play and Lego, and obviously that elephant being Minecraft, a somewhat blocky elephant, as you can see on the left there. Minecraft does digital Lego style play better than anybody, better than we do it, almost better than anybody else out there. We obviously have a working relationship with Minecraft. We create Lego Minecraft sets. If you can't beat them, then join them, of course. But having said that, we don't believe that Minecraft is the only expression of digital creativity out there. And actually, we look far beyond just a digital version of block building play. Of course, we are interested in that, but we actually see creativity expanding into many different forms of gaming, which I'll come into now. On the right side, you see kind of Lego Worlds, which is Lego's interpretation of Minecraft that was launched a few years ago. It's actually a pretty good game. You'd think that taking the Minecraft idea and adding the Lego brand to it should create a monster hit. Unfortunately, it didn't. And I think that's one of the other reasons why Lego Ventures exists, is that we feel that potentially helping and working with companies and investing in companies outside of Lego could be the best way of finding future digital systems in play that could become part of the Lego group of companies, rather than building inside out, where we've tried to do in the past and not succeeded. So I'm going to start talking about a few areas that we're interested in. Obviously, creative sandbox. That makes, that's kind of a given in terms of the kind of genres that we're looking at. But also, related to that, game making platforms. We're seeing increasing amount of those come through. We're really interested in. We've spoken to a lot of companies in that space. You can see one here. I just had a chat with earlier today, Hyber. What we're really interested in here is how do these companies challenge that 5% rule of 5% creators and 95% viewers or players? How do you get more to like a 50-50 split, or getting more creators in there? Everybody who plays with Lego is a creator. So how do you find a platform or a system that is so universal and so kind of easy for people to use that anybody can get over that creative hump and start making their own games and their own levels? That's really interesting for us. Obviously, MMOs is also a place where we've already invested. We're interested in ones that have creativity at their core, and are ones which allow people to kind of flex their creative muscles a little bit inside that game. Adventure puzzle games, ones that really tests your kind of capacity to learn while you're playing, rather than ones where you can just quickly pop online and find a solution. I don't even know if GameFAQs still exists. I just remember I used to use it 10 years ago whenever I used to get stuck in like Monkey Island and Telltale Games. Obviously, everyone is talking about the metaverse these days and whatever the hell that is going to be or become. We obviously see Fortnite taking a pretty good stab at making the first credible metaverse where people can play and watch and share and socialize together. There will be others. And this idea of a kind of a hybrid social platform, gaming platform, creative platform is something that we are extremely interested in getting involved with through investment, through partnership. Also, we're interested in social creativity. So you might think, well, this isn't really gaming, but with the way we think about it is that the mental process and the kind of the brain chemistry that goes on when you are creating a video for TikTok and using the tools that you have at your disposal is quite similar to the kind of joy of creating and like joy of building and pride of creation that you get when you build Lego sets at a younger age. And there's obviously hugely gamified elements to both TikTok and Snapchat, and the endorphin rush you get when you get to a certain amount of likes and a certain status within there. Having said that, we're fully aware that those platforms have all sorts of issues around Lego's target audience of kids. We are not solely targeted on kids in Lego Ventures as investable audiences, let's say, but we bear it in mind that we want social creativity as a force for good to be our investment thesis. And then finally, areas that you wouldn't necessarily expect Lego Ventures to be interested in, but are really interesting to us, are narrative games, the ones where the narrative really actually matters. One of my favorite ever games is Gone Home. I think kind of the experience of playing that game and putting yourself in the eyes of that girl is absolutely incredible, and it helps you think about things in a completely different way. Similar to that kind of social emotional games where you get your perceptions challenged and you learn as you play and you interpret things differently at the end is very interesting to us, because that idea of kind of nutritious play is at core of Lego, and it's core of where we are looking in the digital space. And also, it's not just about the genres, it's about the kind of studios that we're looking for. We want studios that have a clear longer term mission and purpose, obviously with creativity as a key tenet. It doesn't have to be the only thing that they're focused on, but there has to be some degree of how a creative agency for the game or the player in the product that they're creating. And we don't expect any studio to kind of get it right first time out of the gate, but so we want to obviously see resilience and adaptability in the people we talk to, and an understanding that we will help them grow. We are a strategic investor rather than a financial one. Obviously, we want to invest in good businesses, so it's not like we're not financial, but we have a longer term horizon than maybe some other investors do, and we want to work with those companies to help them grow as they learn what works and what doesn't. And we're obviously looking for companies that have similar values to Lego around kind of having a mission and purpose that is broader and bigger than just a financial one. And our target audience does go beyond the Lego group, older, broader demographics. It's what Lego calls the dark ages, when kids start kind of getting into cider and cigarettes, and they kind of getting less into Lego. They also get into kind of playing video games and other stuff as well. And then sometimes they come back in their 20s and 30s and start building Lego again, particularly right now when they're all stuck at home. So those dark ages is prime fertile ground for gaming. So how can we invest in companies that are focusing on that audience as well is very interesting to us. And this is our kind of USP. It's essentially, we have Lego backing us. We have all of the Lego strengths at our disposal for those companies we invest in. Here's the very beautifully, artily shot investment team in black and white. You can see the photographer has essentially two briefs, arms folded, arms in pockets. And I think some of these guys are on the call right now. Morton certainly is, Charles and Parin. I think Frankie is joining some of the meetings we have with US studios later in the day. And these are the guys who are kind of managing the investment process, and the guys that anyone who's interested in Lego Ventures should be speaking to alongside the leadership team, which is myself and Jamie. And also Michael, who's in the leadership team and heads up the incubation studio. This is just for very early stage ideas. People who think about kind of a form of creative product or learning through play product that not sure how to get it to market, but have a clear vision of where they want to go. We've built an incubation studio where we can potentially fund them and build the company with them. And this is now up and running. We've just had our first round of cohorts in Scandinavia, and we're looking to broaden it out into Europe. And it's really awesome. So I recommend reaching out to myself or to Michael Stahl, if you can find him on LinkedIn or anywhere else, if you are at that stage. And I think I've already met kind of a couple of companies today that I think could be an interesting fit for this too. And that is it from me in terms of what I have to share. Hopefully we have time for a few questions as well.
Great stuff. Thank you very much, Rob. That was really interesting. Thank you. Yeah, we've got a couple of questions, actually. The first one I want to ask is, there was a GamesIndustry.biz article about Lego Super Mario. And apparently the Lego management questioned some of the initial pitches because of why is this Lego play? So I just wondered if that was something you consider when you're looking for investments.
I think the way we look at it is more of a kind of a shared DNA rather than is this a replica of the Lego play pattern? Because I think, to be really honest, we do that play pattern probably better than anyone else out there. And we know construction play, reality play, role playing, kind of, as well as anybody else. And we've honed it and perfected it over many years. I think, we are looking at the things that kind of cause the similar brain patterns maybe to that, but not anything that replicates it entirely. I think with Lego Super Mario, there is an acknowledgement that it would be very easy to create Lego sets of Nintendo levels, and they would probably sell very well. But with what we've done with Lego Super Mario, what Lego has done with it is create something that also has elements of gameplay in there that will bridge between the Lego play and some of the gameplay mechanics you see in Mario. And it takes a lot of effort and a lot of innovative thinking to get to something like that. So fingers crossed people like it when it launches in a couple of months.
Yeah, good stuff. I've got my pre-order anyway, so I'm looking forward to that. I was going to ask as well, what makes Lego unique compared to, say, other investors?
I think, there are a couple of things. One is obviously our longer term horizon. That's not unique in investors, but I think it's something where, we really want to partner with the people we invest in, and we want to bring them close to Lego and unlock the power of Lego at their disposal. We are, we're pretty bad at some things. As I mentioned at the beginning, our track record in digital only products is mixed. But we're amazing at some things. Our innovation pipeline, our product design, our marketing and branding, our supply chain and operations, our manufacturing, our ability to globalize and reach new markets. We're pretty good at all of those things. And I think also the ethos of the company and the values of the company are we're probably one of the most successful purpose-driven companies out there. And we have a clear purpose that comes from the family around expanding the idea of learning through play. And that, I think, is something that we want to help our portfolio companies build. We look for ones that have a similar vision to that, or share similar values. And I think we can help them build. And a lot of, particularly, the kind of generation Z and Gen Alpha, they are looking, or they will be looking for purpose in their work and purpose in what they do. I think that's something that we're good at building as well.
Yeah. You mentioned obviously that you're not investing currently because of the COVID situation. And you said hopefully by the end of the summer you'll be looking at picking that up again. Should developers and companies still be approaching you for meetings and things and showing you what they're up to?
Absolutely. I mean, it's very rare that we would take a conversation with someone now and then be investing in a week's time. These processes do take a bit of time anyway, and when you get into due diligence, that will take a bit of time as well. So we are using this time to tighten our thesis. What you saw just now is very much a work in progress. It's going to get tighter and more focused than that. And we're using it to build our network as well, and meet as many interesting companies as we can, so that when we do start investing again and the tap gets turned on again, we're ready to go, basically.
Yeah. In the last panel, one of the questions was about track record. I mean, as an investor that invests in equity, would you need to see a kind of track record of a company, or if they're quite new, would you still be interested?
I think, because we are looking at Series A and upwards generally, we would like to see something in the market that's got some traction and some data behind it. There is a bit of a gap in seed investing in gaming. You've got people at very early stage ideas, and we have our incubation studio for that. And then we have our investment team for Series A and upwards. And so it is, I think, difficult for a studio who have something that is a product that's half made or getting there that isn't in the market yet. And that's a gap that we recognize, but we're still pretty early as an investor right now, so we're not fully ready to embrace the risk of going all in on investing at seed stage. But like, as I said before, we will gladly talk to companies that stage, and we have made seed investments in the past, so it's not impossible. But yeah, definitely we would love to meet those ones and track with them, even if we don't invest until a later stage.
Yeah, and obviously with events like this, they can approach you. What are the ways are good at approaching your company and Lego? Would it be through like LinkedIn and things like that? Are you happy to have like cold approaches, if you like?
Yeah, on our website we have a submission form where people can go and submit, and we will come back to everybody that submits on there as well. Obviously reach out to myself on LinkedIn. I'm pretty active at replying on there. We also try and be honest, and if it's not something that is in our investment remit or in our focus area, we'll come back politely and say no. But we're also happy to link people up. We're building our network across funds as well, so both with other corporate venture arms, but also with other kind of gaming funds and that general network. So hopefully if we're not right, we might be able to point you in the direction of someone who is right.
Yeah, good stuff. Brilliant. Well, I think we've run out of time there, Rob. So thank you very much for that. That was really interesting. And as I say, if people want to follow up with you, they can do through LinkedIn. And you've got plenty of meetings as well for the rest of today?
Yeah. We've had a few this morning, got a few this afternoon. It's all going pretty smoothly so far. Yeah, no technical issues. It's all good.
Good. Well, we've just cursed it now, so that's great.
Exactly. Sorry about that.
Brilliant. Thank you again for joining us. That's it for the first sessions of the GamesIndustry.biz Investment Summit Online, sponsored by Xsolla. We'll be back at 3:30 p.m. UK time with a pre-recorded talk by the numbers Xsolla Funding Club. And then after that at 4 p.m. With a live presentation and Q&A from Anya Combs at Kickstarter. All the YouTube links to the sessions are on investmentsummit.gamesindustry.biz. And you can also replay the sessions from this morning now if you missed any as well. So we'll see you at 3:30 p.m. and good luck with your meetings as well. Cheers.